Good night. Have one done tonight. God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Irma J. I'm here to give y'all some news tonight. Um First we're gonna start with Black history is American history. Don Lemon erupt over Desantis book banning. He banning the books in Florida. You know, and Don Lemon said it's feel like 1950s again. So the anchor stated that the governor wanted Florida kids to be ignorant by removing books. So this sense, he abandoned books from 1950 in Florida. You know, his administration mandated that Florida state school curriculum, and librarian must follow content guidelines by the Florida Department of Education. Uncle Don Lemon assumed that that the worst are causing, Governor Ryan DeSantis, Florida retaliation book banning. Now CNN has said at the time for it's time for the parents, to have a voice, for their children, education, of civil rights. So the children, I mean the parents, this is the time for y'all voice to be spoken for civil rights. So let me rank follow. Report on a new Florida law supported by government administration requiring reading the material to be banned for state classroom according to standards set by the state Department of Education. You know, so uh, so they're saying material to be banned. Somebody strong to be set in charge. Excuse me. To make careful, you know, to make careful decision, to take over. Someone to take over. Someone, especially in order to ensure that they are suitable for the job. So excuse me. CNN also stated that many Florida teachers, are alarmed and worried because of failure to stick result in a third-degree felony. So some of the teachers are worried. Because it's so much stuff is coming out. First it was like you want to edit the Black history. Now you taking the books away. So you're gonna have everyone so confused on what they're supposed to be doing as a teacher. So the parents at Florida School Board meeting stated that the Florida Department of Education was banning books. So they also gave advice to parents, saying this scrubbing parents have the right to have a voice. And parents do have the right to have a voice because that is your children, that they're trying to take books away. So it seemed like DeSantis is trying to bring slavery back. You know, it seemed like you're trying to bring slavery back. Slavery had in the middle of '60s, in the '60s. We had ended with slavery, but some certain things we still fighting for civil rights. So I request that all books remain. We need all African American children to learn about Black culture. You know, their Black history. You know, they need to learn about the history. So but because all they're gonna be hearing is from other people. They need to hear. Because if their parents was not in that time, they're gonna need to hear right offhand from the history class or history books or something. So they still need to learn that in school, and their books should not be taken away because it's like you bringing slavery back. Cause see, back in the slavery, they didn't want uh, they didn't want no one to read or know how to read. So slavery ended in the 60s. So we don't need to bring slavery back. So that's the story of they're trying to ban the books in Florida. So now we're gonna talk about Mr. President Bennett's speech. It says Tyree's death is a painful reminder that we must do more to ensure that our criminal justice system live up to the promise of fair and justice, equal treatment, and dignity for all. You know, and I agree. It should have equal treatment. All across the board. Now President Bennett also broke they broke every rule in the book of humanity. Lawrence, John Blass, the five former police officers charged in the death of Tyree Nichols. So the basis of police protocol was broken right here. They were on the power trip. Tyree Nicholson didn't have to die that night. Five former Memphis police officers had been charged with a second degree murder and kidnapping in the death of Tyree Nicholson. He was 29 years old. He was also working at FedEx. The incident did happen January 7th. He died 3 days later following his arrest. The video was released on January 27th. So first I want to give my condolences to the family, to loss of your child. Sorry, that this terrible tragedy that had happened and it should not have happened. I did saw this video. It was so hard for me to watch. I had got so emotional, from watching it. It was just so horrible. And he was trying to go home, calling out for his mama to go home. That's all he was saying. He wanted to try to go home. And this should be equal justice, all across the border. And this is a time that we have to keep God in the midst of this horrible time. We have to keep God in the midst of this horrible time because He the only one, you know, shut anything down. So there would be, I will have new rules written up, new policy written up. So this could be equal treatment across the board. So this won't happen again. So we will have new rules and new policies to stick to. You know, uh, this kind of tragedy have to stop. You know, I know the first thing I'm gonna have written down is a background check on the officers. You know, uh, Vince. Make sure that it's very qualified. Check the backgrounds. For equal justice across the board. So this rules and this policy will have to will stick. For equal treatment across the board. You know, so this won't happen again. So we also have Mr. President Bennett also has a good advice to pass on. So he stated from rebuilding our nation, and first instruction to bringing manufacturing back, economic agenda is investing in America. So he also said that we have to invest in ourselves again and all of America and for all Americans under the president leadership, road and bridges are being built, factory are coming online. You know, that was a good advice to all leadership. You know, so now we also had talked about first we had talked about um, the mayor in Florida banning all books, for black African American. You know, don't want them to read or either learn about black history. And I think our young people, should learn about our black culture. They should learn instead of them picking false information off the street somewhere. Or from anyone. They need to learn, they need to learn um, their black culture. So banning all the books, from Africa America to read, that's bringing slavery back. 'Cause back in the slavery, they didn't want They didn't want them to read. They didn't want them to learn anything. They just wanted them to be stupid and ignorant. So we're not gonna bring slavery back. Slavery ended in the '60s. We moving forward. Martin Luther King had opened many doors for us, but we see we still fighting for equal rights. So that's what's the story on the banning the books in Florida. And so we also talk about Mr. President's speech for Tyree death. For equal treatment. Dignity. For all. And that's what it should be. They just getting beaten down. Like nothing. So all this kind of treatment, you know, gonna have to stop. Because we gonna have new rules and new policies to stick to. So it can be equal treatment through all across the border. So this won't happen again. We already have everything set up. You know, and because this kind of treatment have to stop. This kind of treatment have to stop. We have to have policy, new policies to stick. You know, not good for one, it have to be good for all. It have to be equal policy for everyone. For so when this, we don't want this to happen again. But it do, it have to, you have to have stick, you have to have tough rules and policy. Because this kind of treatment have to not happen again. You know, so this all the news I have for you on today. Um, y'all have a blessed and safe night, and I see y'all on the next video.